you very much for being with us today, Pandit Sharma. Now, Pandit Satish Sharma, I want to start out by asking you about what you make of this recent shocking incident where Chinmoy Krishna Das of ISKCON was arrested by Bangladesh, and he's being continuously detained there despite no concrete case against him.
Jai Shri Ram, Namaskar, and thank you for the opportunity to speak to your Darshkas. The situation in Bangladesh is deteriorating minute by minute. I don't think it's the word genocide is relevant when there is an intention to erase one particular identifiable group. And since Muhammad Yunus released the terrorists who were in captivity, I think what we're seeing today was entirely predictable as a consequence. The expectation that civilized people have, that barbarians will follow law and order, I think that expectation now needs to be abandoned in its entirety. I hear continuously shock and surprise, event after event, that, oh my goodness, this has happened, this is terrible. But we should expect the worst. They have declared their intentions. We have seen the mobs on the streets of Dhaka and in Bangladesh openly announcing their intention to commit genocide on Hindus because they are Hindus. And if our civilizational state, the Bharatiya government, is too slow to recognize its obligation, then I really do worry as to whether anybody else will. You know, we have seen that the United Nations has been silent. Where are the demands for a peacekeeping force? Where is the demand for a humanitarian corridor in the north of the country where Hindus, the indigenous people of Bangladesh, the ones who have been there for many, many millennia, where they can take refuge? Absolutely silent. The last point I'd just like to quickly introduce is, I think every Sanatani should now take this opportunity, a belated opportunity, to understand who their friends truly are. All of those human rights organizations which claim some sort of moral authority, they have gone silent at this moment in time, and their hypocrisy is revealed. Never should we ever allow ourselves to be diminished or humiliated by any of these organizations. They have lost the moral high ground completely. And I hope that we see this as a sea change. People who are silent at this moment in time whilst our Hindu civilization is under attack, they have absolutely no right anymore to speak on any aspect of what is going on in Bharat and what Hindus need to do to defend themselves.
Yes. Pandit Satish Sharma, though, what about the world at large? Why is the world silent on what is happening in Bangladesh? Why are global leaders quiet? That is also something that has been very disappointing, hasn't it?
Well, I've spoken about this particular issue, which is very important, and thank you for raising it. And that is that in the outside world, the world outside of Bharat, it's largely been molded by societies and civilizations which are adversarial in nature. They believe in fighting with each other and then establishing dominance and establishing what is right on the basis of adversarial engagement. Whereas our tradition has always been the dharmic tradition, which is collaborative. We believe in working together to use intellect and compassion to come to a solution which is a wiser solution. So when we look at the United Nations, when we look at the European Union, when we even look at the British Parliament, we have expectations from them, which is a dharmic expectation. But unless we are engaged in those, they are literally Kurukshetras, unless we are engaged in every corner of the Kurukshetra, fighting, arguing, debating, demanding, advocating for our interests, these organizations outside of Bharat, and many of them sadly within Bharat, they pay no attention to us. It's the most important thing that we have to do as a civilization, as a dharmic civilization, not as the Indian state. The Indian state, I think, has its own handcuffs, but as a dharmic civilization, we have to understand we need to engage in the most robust advocacy, the most robust lobbying in all of these fora in order to get our voice across. Otherwise, there is deathly silence, and we can expect no support, no sanctions, no offer of military aid or anything like that at all from any of these organizations.
Yes. also very quickly, Pandit Satish Sharma, now as far as this particular arrest is concerned, we also learned that 2 more Hindu monks have been arrested simply for attempting to meet Chinmoy Krishnadas in jail. What is the the Bangladeshi state trying to convey, and which way is the situation headed in your opinion?
Yeah, I think the writing is clear on the wall as to what this Bangladeshi interim government actually believes. We have had minority, peaceful monks and religious practitioners imprisoned, but how many of the people on the streets who were demanding death to Hindus, who were demanding that their homes be burnt, and who have been guilty of destroying temples and vigrahas being desecrated, how many of those have been imprisoned? We hear absolutely nothing at all. And I think that dichotomy, that difference between the two, trumpets to us that either the state is impotent or it has absolutely no intention of protecting its most vulnerable, its most tranquil, and its most indigenous minority. Right.
Thank you very much, Pandit Satish Sharma, for joining us on NewsX with your perspective on this big story. Let me quickly rope in now Vilvanathan Krishnamurthy.